Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens, and this is Carly Stevens Books for all things writing, publishing, and indie author life. So, are you somebody who wants to do a book signing or book event? Well, here is a step-by-step guide for how to do that. Now, before I dive in, I do want to let you know that on my website, carly-stevens.com, there is a PDF checklist for you for only 99 cents if you want to have that as a reference and resource for yourself, so you can head on over there. I'll also have the link down below in the description box. So when you are doing a book signing or book event, there are several different types of those. So I'm just going to start with the easiest one first, and that is if you do a bookstore signing. So if you want to do a bookstore signing, reach out to your local bookstore, be that Barnes & Noble or an independent bookstore. Email them and introduce yourself, say who you are, what your books are, give a link to your books, assuming that they are available on Amazon. They will have to be available through a print-on-demand service that is not Amazon the vast majority of the time. So do make sure that your books are available elsewhere so that they can be ordered by the bookstore. Email well in advance. Printing books can get a little bit hairy, so I would recommend that you reach out to that bookstore at least 5 weeks before you want this event to take place. As I'm recording this, it is the very beginning of holiday shopping season, and so it's kind of the perfect time to get in on the live event game. At this point, live events are the lion's share of the revenue earning for me. So there's a lot of potential to be had through live events. All right, you reached out to your Barnes & Noble, your independent bookstore. Just a note that a Barnes & Noble is actually more likely to give you a chance as an independent author for a book signing than an independent bookstore will. That's not a hard and fast rule. There are definitely independent bookstores that are very supportive of independent authors like us, but they have to stay afloat. They have to make sure that they'll get their revenue back, and so sometimes there are other safeguards in place that just make it a bit more challenging for indie authors sometimes to get in there. Don't be offended, just move on and try to find other bookstores that will take you. All right, so you have figured out a time. Awesome. Figure out exactly how the selling will go. What do I mean by that? I mean, not only do you have the time all set up, but also are they going to order the books for you and then you just kind of sell at your table and people will order at the normal registers? That's how it's going to work the vast majority of the time. But there's also the commission method as well, where you would bring books and then the bookstore would get a cut, you would get a cut. In that case, and again, that's the rarer case, then get the details in writing. What percentage goes to them, what percentage goes to you, and when and how you'll get paid. I have made the mistake of assuming certain things about commission situations, and you don't want to be stuck in that situation. You want to make sure everybody knows exactly what is going on. All right, so you are all set. Go to your Barnes & Noble signing. Let's say, for example, they ordered in all the books. Some things to consider, to prepare, and to bring. So as far as preparation goes, make sure that you have elevator pitches ready to go. I have an entire video about elevator pitches as well as another PDF on my website, carly-stevens.com, if you want to check that out. But make sure that you have a really short pitch for all of your books that you're going to be selling. Not a rambling 30-second pitch, but something that very quickly lets somebody know if they would be interested in learning a little bit more. Or if not, then they can just kind of nod and move on. So make sure your elevator pitch is ready. Also, I strongly recommend that you bring some swag and a way for people to sign up for your newsletter, assuming that you have a newsletter, which is a good idea. So what I do is I kind of combine the two. I have bookmarks that I'll bring to live events, sometimes I'll have stickers or other things, but I always have bookmarks that are beautiful, that have a quote or a design based on the covers, and then there's a QR code on one side that will lead people to the newsletter with some free short stories. So make sure if you're able to bring that swag. This is another reason why planning the signings several weeks out is a great idea. All right, so you've prepared, you are bringing swag, make sure that you bring signing pens, make sure you bring a bottle of water. You will get dehydrated if you're talking to people nonstop for hours. This happens to me every time, so I always bring a big water bottle and try to find time partway through to refill that, just so I don't get too parched as I'm talking to everybody. All right, before I talk about the actual event itself and some great ways to hand sell a book, since that is relevant for every kind of book event, I'm going to shift over to other types of book events. So there's more than just bookstore signings. There are Comic Cons, different sorts of conferences, sci-fi cons, horror cons, things like that. There are different festivals, different markets, different craft fairs, different farmers markets. There are lots of opportunities for independent sellers to get involved in selling for events. There are a few new things that you do need to keep in mind if you're going to reach out to those organizers, not just the event organizer for Barnes & Noble, but an event organizer for a market or something like that. One, there's very often a booth or table cost. It is very rare not to encounter some sort of buy-in cost for being at that event. Those range from $40 to $300 or $400 depending on how big the event is. Be careful choosing which events you want to participate in, because you want there to be a profit on top of the booth and table cost, on top of the inventory cost. That's another thing you'll have to consider, is ordering your own books. So you have to invest a pretty significant amount oftentimes to get enough inventory so that you don't have just a bare table, but you have, it's clear that you are here to sell books. You are somebody who is confident that your books are wanted by people in this festival, market, whatever it may be. So yeah, you'll also need to order those books. Something that I've needed to do as well, which is annoying but legal and important, is to get a sales tax license. I reached out to a tax professional in my area and asked how selling through live events works best, and that is, she walked me through all of that, and she does my quarterly sales tax stuff, which again is very annoying, but it's worth it to me, because even after all of that, the inventory, the booth costs, the sales tax, paying the person to do it, and paying the sales tax, and paying for the license, it still is the most lucrative part of my job, hand selling these books. So speaking of selling, something else that you'll need to prepare in advance is a way, or better ways, for people to pay you. If you do a signing through Barnes & Noble, people will pick up the book, they'll go to the front register, and they'll take care of it there. They'll take care of all the sales tax, they'll take care of the point of sale system. But at a farmer's market or a holiday craft fair or whatever it is, then all of a sudden you are the one who has to take those payments and take care of all those things. So I recommend accepting at a minimum cash and card. So if you want to collect card payments, you'll need to set this up in advance, make sure that everything's connected to a PayPal or a bank account ahead of time. But you can take payments through PayPal directly. They have a point of sale system. Square also has a system that can do that, and they'll send you a free card reader, which is nice. At least that was the case a couple years ago. Hopefully it's still the same now. And then many people also want to offer the opportunity for people to pay through Venmo or another large kind of cash transfer situation like that. So have your handle ready. But you'll need to be able to accept that money for your goods, right? So, after all that, go to the event, bring your books, bring all the other things I mentioned for any sort of book signing, the water, the signing pens, all of that, your elevator pitches in your head, and you arrive. Check and see if you need a table or a tent or whatever. Just make sure that all your ducks are in a row. Read all of the instructions, read all the fine print. It's very important. You want to, if it's a recurring event, you want to make sure that you're invited back. If it's not, then you want to make sure that there's no, issue with payment or what have you. All right, so you've arrived. You are there at your market. You're there at your Barnes & Noble, whatever it might be. So some ways to make the most of your time while you're there. Do a little promotion ahead of time, just like make sure people know that that's where you're going to be so they have the chance to find you. That's family, friends, followers in your newsletter. And then when people arrive to your table, to your booth, to the bookstore, then be friendly. Make sure that you are smiling at people, that you're interacting with people, that you're not just on your phone. If you're able to stand for as long as you can. I've discovered that I have a comfortable standing threshold of about 4 hours, and then after that I start to get a little wobbly and think, oh my gosh, okay, I need a moment, I need to sit for a sec, and but as much as I can, I like to stand and smile and greet people and strike up conversations just about our shared love of books. You can kind of see in people's eyes if they're a reader, because they'll try to suss out your books. They'll try to see what is the cover and the title telling them and all of that. So yeah, start conversing with people and see, is this person somebody who might enjoy this type of book? Give them that short elevator pitch. I like to connect with people on books just in case they like the genre that you write, or somebody that they know likes the genre that you write. But I'm not somebody who goes in for the hard sell. There are a few things that I do to just kind of encourage people to get my books, but I don't like to be given the hard sell personally, and I don't like to do that to other people either. So I make sure that we talk about how awesome books are, what genres we like to read, if there's any connection between what they like to read, the books they enjoy, and the ones that I'm offering. And then if they really seem interested, then I say, hey, check it out, or I'll hand them one of the books that I think they'd like the most, and they can take that closer look. They're more likely to buy if they have that book in their hands. There's actually an interview that I did with Ben Wolfe about this very topic, and I got that very little tip from him, so you can check that out. I'll have that linked in the description box below. I also talked to an event coordinator at Colorado's busiest Barnes & Noble, my local Barnes & Noble. I'm very lucky to have such a supportive local one, but I had an interview with her as well, so you can look at that interview too. Few last minute tips here. Make sure that your books are arranged nicely. I would recommend that you look nice. You don't need to dress up exactly, but just, make sure that you look presentable, comfortable, wear comfortable shoes. It's difficult to stand for a long time if you're in heels, for example, but I know some people are superhuman. Yeah, and then that is it. That is how you do these live events. And remember, if you don't put yourself out there, then nothing's going to happen. It can sound a little intimidating to put all those things in place. All right, I need my elevator pitch, I need to reach out, I need to get my financials in order. But once you do all those things, then they're in order. Then you know how to do them, and you can just repeat. And it's not this difficult challenge every time. It's something that you can do over and over again and really make quite a bit of money doing that. I don't make, a lot of money by any stretch of the imagination, but I can tell my business is starting to get more and more lucrative, and a lot of that is due to the success of live events. So yeah, definitely check it out. Reach out to your local holiday craft fair folks and say, hey, can I bring my sweet Christmas romances in? That's a genre that I do, right? And hopefully they'll say yes. So best of luck. Make sure to subscribe for more writing, publishing, and indie author life stuff. Go to my website for the PDF checklist of all this information, along with lots of other writing resources that I'm adding to all the time. Yeah, and I will see you next week.